back to another video and Happy New Year! So I normally do a little redraw at the end of every year to see how my art or how my style or how my process has developed or evolved over that year, and yeah, 2020 was no exception. And I did the first one in 2018, and then I did one in 2019, and of course last month I did my 2020 redraw. I thought I'd do a quick video talking to you guys about it and talking about how my process has actually developed over 2020. I actually don't have the 2018 redraw process video, unfortunately, but I do have the 2019 redraw video, so I will talk through that one first and then show you guys the 2020 redraw so that we can kind of compare and contrast the different processes that I did for both of those and see how they differ. And it'll be really nice at the end of the video to see all three of them together and just add another drawing to the collection. So without any further ado, let's get into the redraws. So starting off with my 2019 redraw, as you can see, I put the little 2018 original one that I did back in 2018 in the top left corner so I could have a bit of a reference, as this was my first actual yearly redraw. Back then, I was very much into using Tara's oval sketch brush for sketching and just pretty much everything. I was very, very into it. I just used it for everything from sketching to coloring, and I had a very specific way of drawing hair, as you can see. I decided to still go for the profile view when I did my 2019 redraw because, you know, I wanted to keep in with the exact framing, I guess, from the original. I did change that a little bit this year just to make things a little bit more interesting, otherwise I'm always drawing a profile of the same person. As you can see already, there's a huge difference from 2018 to 2019. Just immediately, straight off the bat, there's a sketch layer, which I'm pretty sure I didn't do in 2018, or a line art layer at all. I think I just straight went in with coloring, so already there's a lot more different things happening. Yeah, I did the sketch layer and then I did the line art layer, which I still to this day, I think I do this. I put the line art layer on a multiply or a overlay layer. I think I used to do overlays a lot more. Now I think I changed my line art layers into multiply layers just because I think it looks prettier. Now I'm more into like a darker line art look than just a darker color, but this is definitely one of the main things that I used to do when drawing. So then I think I used to go in and just add shading on each specific layer. I didn't do any sort of overlays or any general overlay shading. I think I just straight went into each layer and shaded accordingly, which was fine. I don't really do that as much now. I combine sketching elements and doing shadings in the sketch layer as well as overlay shading, as well as shading on each layer, just because that way I feel like I can achieve different tones and underlying tones a lot easier than just always having a flat color on each layer. So it just looks a lot more flat, I think, in this 2019 redraw. Especially in the hair, I just feel like it doesn't have as much of a pop as I would like nowadays. I did do a good job with the glasses. I still really like how I drew the glasses for this redraw. And yeah, doing all the highlights now on the hair. The hair, I think, is where I've changed the most in terms of my process. You'll see that in the 2020 redraw. But yeah, this was the 2019 redraw that I did, which was just a little bit over a year ago. And now getting into my 2020 redraw. So as you can see immediately, I changed the angle of the head and the face just because I wanted to try changing it up just a little bit. I didn't want to draw a profile face again, and yeah, I changed her so she's at more of a 3/4 from the top look, like we're looking down on her a little bit, and did my sketch layer. And I've really been into doing my line art layers and just all of my line art really in like a dark red color. That's definitely something that's changed a lot in my process. I don't know why, I just really enjoy doing my line art in red and then changing it to a multiply layer. I just like the look that it gives off. Not always red, sometimes I'll do it in blue depending on the like mood of the piece, but red is normally the color that I go for in my everyday drawing process. So and another thing that's changed a lot is that I'm less scared of drawing outside of my line art. So what I've been doing a lot recently with my process is actually doing layers on top of the line art for things that I want to stand out, so things that I don't want the line art to obscure. And I do that a lot for stray hairs. You'll see that later on, but I'll do a basic flat color layer for the hair, and then I'll do extra layers for the hair afterwards on top of the line art so that I can draw on top of the line art, I guess. I hope that makes sense, but you'll see what I mean in a second. So as you can see, I did do some of this shading with the line art layer in red, because once I turn it into a multiply layer, it immediately becomes shading. So then I go from that when I add in all of the colors to the eyes and etc. and to other shadings. But because I've always got that multiply layer shading, there's always going to be that undertone over there, and anything I add on top of that is gonna marry it a little better. Yeah, I know it doesn't really make sense, but in my head, it does. Yeah, I go in and I add a bunch of shading to the skin, and I've been very much into rim lighting. I recently found out about it, and I'm very much a fan. I didn't do any colored rim lighting in this one, and by rim lighting, by the way, I mean that light on the left of her face, just on the very edge of her face, that's on the opposite side of where the light's hitting her face. It's just from like light bouncing off of other things that would be in this imaginary green room. But yeah, it just adds a little bit more of three-dimensionality to the piece, and it just always makes things look a little bit more authentic. I don't know. I just really like adding rim lights to everything. It's a very sexy part. So this here is where I'm actually drawing over my line art layer for the hair details, and as you can see, it just makes it look a lot better and chunkier, and it just makes the shadings that I add pop out a lot more. Whereas if I did them on the layer where I drew the flats for the hair, they would just normally get obscured by the line art layer. And I love rendering hair, and I don't really like it when it gets, you know, hidden away by the line art layer that's on top of it. So recently I've just been rendering the hair on a separate layer on top of the line art. And that's just how I've been rendering most of my finishing touches and like stray hairs and stuff like that. And I really enjoy how it looks. So that's probably the biggest thing that's changed in terms of how I render hair. Also in terms of brush, I don't really use the Dizzy Tara's oval sketch brush anymore. I've been really into using this round wet sketch brush from one of Bluesssatan's brush packs. I'll link everything in the description if you guys want to check these brush packs out. Yeah, I pretty much use that one for everything as well. I really don't like changing between brushes. I just pretty much use the same brush for everything. And here, there's not much going on because I'm probably adding random details here and there that you can't even see. Now working on the glasses and adding rim lighting to the glasses as well, which makes it stand out a lot more, and shading that in. I just really enjoy how the glasses came out in this one as well. And of course adding some more stray hairs everywhere, as well as a little light glow behind her. And of course adding the little stars that I've been adding in all of my redraws so far. And I think that was pretty much it for the 2020 redraw. I know that it has a 2021 signature on it for a while. That's just because I had accidentally already changed my signature stamp, so let's just ignore that. And here they all are together. I think they look so lovely, all next to each other. You can clearly see the evolution of my drawing and how my style has changed. But yeah, very happy with how they turn out. So yeah, as you can see, there is a little bit of a difference since 2019. Not so much visually, but more in the process and how I actually go about drawing digitally. If you compare the process videos, there's definitely a big change in my steps on how I get to the final drawing, and just how I color and sketch in general has changed a little bit. But I feel like the biggest change will always be from 2018 to 2019, because 2018 is when I actually started doing digital drawing properly. So the exponential line of how much I progressed in 2019 is a lot steeper than now, because I feel like I'm less focusing on how I technically draw digitally and focusing on other aspects such as like drawing backgrounds. And I think it's really lovely to see as well how my style has developed and changed over the years. So yeah, I think it's a really cool exercise to do or start off doing this year if you can. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching 2019 drawing versus 2020 drawing. Quick little announcement, by the time that this video comes out, it'll be around about the same time as when my shop reopens. So if you want to go have a look at my shop and all the new goodies that I put up on there, I will leave the link down there in the description for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely year, and yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye!